I enjoy coming to work every day knowing that clients are depending on me to guide them through whatever financial needs they have.
Every client we have is different. And so it's really about finding out what's really the most important thing per client.
With financial planning, everything is interconnected. So a comprehensive plan means that you're taking care of income needs now, income needs in the intermediate term, and income needs long term. We'll do an asset cycle portfolio. We'll do a risk-alized test. We'll do a life insurance audit or a life insurance review.
And so when we build a deep relationship with our clients, then we can take a step back and then we can look at different options to help them specifically get to their goals. One of the things I feel our job is as advisors is to introduce strategies to clients that maybe they did not know that they were out there. But it's our idea, our job to come out and say, have you ever thought about this?
And the planning it's not always about income, but a lot of it is also about the legacy. So the element of family is very important to us, and it's important to our clients.
Hello and welcome to Financially Speaking with Jeff Bush. My name is Steve Jablonski and I'll be the host for today's program. With over 10,000 baby boomers daily turning 65, today the topic will be Social Security benefits. And with that said...
Yeah. Well, hello, Steve, and welcome to the show. Great to be here today at PCTV. You know, it's hard to believe that we've been doing this now for almost 5 years. Time flies when you're having fun. It just seems like yesterday we were here doing this show for the very first time, and now here we are, seasoned veterans. You know, for the 5-year on the cusp of our 5-year anniversary. And today's topic is going to be a really popular topic among our viewers, and that is Social Security. And the reason why it's so popular is because it's the government system of paying you a pension when you're retired. And of course there's a lot of uncertainty with Social Security, and there's a lot of intricacies which we're going to dig into a little bit today. There's only so much we can cover on a half-an-hour show, but it's an interesting topic. And of course, to those people that are watching us today and they want more information, they can certainly contact our office, and we can give them more information on Social Security.
And Jeff, let's start out with the history of Social Security, and it goes way back quite a few years.
Yeah, so goes all the way back to 1935. The first Social Security check was received by a lady by the name of Ida Mae Fulmer back in 1935. And of course, the significance of that, Steve, is back then the government didn't expect that you were going to be living very long. So at 65, you know, people, I think that was right at life expectancy. So people thought, how long could they live? How long could you receive a benefit? So it's dramatically different, obviously, today than it was back in 1935. And I think the Medicare part of the Social Security, I think that dates back to 1965, which was part of the Lyndon B. Johnson era, yep, believe it or not. So that's a little history lesson here today.
Yeah. And I know at the seminars and in the practice, you really help people maximize their benefits. What do you, as far as numbers, do you think people are taking it early, people are taking it at full?
Or taking it late? Well, it depends. You know, of course, you can take a benefit as early as age 62, take an early retirement benefit, or you can wait till your full retirement age, and your full retirement age depends upon the year that you were born and I guess we're going to get into that a little bit later. But let's just for now say it's 66, and then or you can wait as long as age 70. So the natural question would be, well, why wouldn't you just take it as soon as you can at age 62? And a lot of people do that. But there's additional benefits if you wait. So your Social Security benefit continues to grow every year that you wait beyond age 62.
And as you said earlier, the times have changed. People are living a lot longer. What's going on in the environment around maybe pensions and different sources?
Yeah, so we have the classic three-legged stool that you can see up there on the screen. And the three-legged stool is symbolic of when you retire, you're getting income from three different sources. You're getting it from Social Security, you're getting it from pension, and you're getting it from retirement savings. So Social Security, the typical married couple gets about a third of their income from Social Security, about 37%. So the other 63% is coming from either a pension or retirement savings. But here's what is significant about this, and that is that retirement today is very different than retirement was even a generation ago. We like to say this is not your father's retirement. When your father retired, he retired with a pension. So you get the pension and you have your Social Security, and that covered it all. But now it's very different. People are relying more on their Social Security, pensions less so, and then you're relying on your retirement to supplement the income that you're going to need in retirement.
And a little bit about what's, when we compare back before 2000 and the time between 2000 and now, when you look at the market?
Well, yeah, from a market, so it's not only not your father's retirement, it's not your father's stock market either. So, I mean, if you look at the stock market or the equity markets back in the 80s and the 90s, the stock market was on an incredible bull run, and investors were rewarded with a buy and hold strategy. Buy, hold. 18 years, boom, the stock market kept going up. But something magical happened. Remember Y2K?
Yep.
You remember when you had to have the generator and you bought all the water, and we were all worried about all these computers crashing when because it's funny, I remember way back in the 80s, people were worried about when they were writing this computer code. It's like, what's going to happen in the year 2000? All these computer codes that were written because no one had the foresight, I guess, to put like an extra digit in the code or extra 2 digits. So everything had to end by the end of 1999. Yeah. So everybody was kind of worried about that, and of course nothing happened. But something did happen in the stock market. Something did happen in the stock market. And it's totally unrelated to the Y2K phenomenon, but the stock market has been in an extreme period of volatility since the year 2000. We've had the two hardest hit global recessions in our history. The one which was the tech bubble of 2000, which was followed right closely by 9/11, and then we recovered. So that happened for about 2.5 years till I guess May of 2002, and then we recovered. We no more than sort of recovered from that, and then we had the financial crisis of 2008, which that lasted about 18 months. So, if you're retiring during those periods of time when the market, you can imagine, retire and then the stock market loses half of its value over the next 18 months. Kind of scary. And incidentally, Steve, if we look at the stock market today and if we look at the values today, the stock market is really overvalued. If we look at price to earnings ratios, stock market we have not seen these numbers. We've seen these numbers like 3 times in our history. Now, back in 2000, which was in the beginning of that one slide that we had up, and then back in 1929. So retirement today this is not your father's retirement. As you retire today, you got to worry about the stock market.
Yep.
Our forefathers, they didn't worry about the stock market.
Yep.
You retired, you got Social Security, you got a pension, and you didn't have to worry about this stuff.
Yep. And back to Social Security, what are some of the basics? Like, when can you get it? How's your benefit really come up, determined?
Well, when can you get it? So let's start with the age. The age that you can get your full retirement, FRA, full retirement age benefit. It's basically if you were born in 1954 or before 1954, your full retirement age is 66. Okay? If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. Okay? So if you were born any time in between there, so if you were born between 55 and 59, it's some fractional part of 66. Okay? So it's either 66 or 67 is your full retirement age. And so that just simply means the Social Security Administration calculates your full retirement age benefit, and they come up with a PIA. The government loves acronyms. PIA, Primary Insurance Amount, and that's what you can get at your FRA, your full retirement age. So if you get a Social Security benefit before your full retirement age, you're going to reduce your benefit. There's a formula for it. It's like 2/3 of 1% every month.
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah, 2/3 of 1%. And then if you get your benefit after age 66, then they have what they call delayed retirement credits.
Yep.
And that adds up to about 8% a year. Okay, so 8% per year, you're going to get more if you wait beyond age 66.
Yep. And what dollar amount of earnings do they go off of?
Well, they look at there's a somewhat complicated formula. Way back in the day, you were flipping burgers, making milkshakes for minimum wage. Those dollars that you earned back then, they're going to index them up to today. Okay, so to make it a relative calculation. Okay, so they're going to take your best 35 years and they're going to average them together. That's how they come up with your PIA, your primary insurance amount. Now, I want to make one more point about that, Steve. That 35 years, and that is, if you haven't worked 35 years, then they fill that with zeros, and then that dilutes the average. So that's really, really important. And a lot of people don't have 35 years of history. A lot of people, maybe left the workforce when they were raising children or whatever. Maybe you're an illness or caring for children or caring for a sick parent or whatever the case may be. Don't have 35 years. You have to have at least 10 to qualify for a benefit. You have to have 40 quarters, 10 years. You have 10 years, you can at least qualify for something, but it's based on your best 35.
And let's say we have husband and wife. How is the benefit calculated? How can a spouse use maybe the other ones?
Yeah, so we call that spousal coordination. So you can take your benefit or you can take half of your spouse's. Maybe your spouse worked a lot more and had a lot higher earnings than you did, so you can take a spousal benefit. It's equal to half of the spouse. So let's just say, for example, that the one spouse is getting, let's say their Social Security benefit is $2,600 a month.
Yep.
Okay, so if the spouse were claiming on the other spouse was claiming on their own, let's say their benefit would be $1,000. Okay, well, that spouse would be in their best interest to take half of the other spouse.
Yeah.
Half the 2,600, which is 1,300, is higher than the 1,000. So you get an extra $300 by taking a spousal benefit.
And what does that look like when one spouse passes away?
Well, it looks like this. So I always say the larger check prevails.
Okay.
So in this example, let's say the husband's getting $2,600, the wife's getting $1,300. Husband dies. The wife will now get the husband's benefit. She'll get the $2,600, and her benefit will go away. So there was two people, and they were getting two checks. Now there's one person left, and they're getting one check.
Right.
So kind of reminds me of an episode of Desperate Housewives many years ago, where the husband died, and talk about obscure. The husband died, and she was collecting his Social Security benefit. So, or they collecting the two checks. So she didn't want the Social Security Administration to know that he was dead. So she put him in the freezer so she could collect the two checks, the two Social Security checks. So, don't do this at home.
How about if there was a divorce? What does the benefit look like? What are some of the rules there?
You know, Steve.
And don't say put them in the freezer.
No, you don't put them in. Yeah, if you're divorced, you just put your ex in the freezer. No. If you're divorced, for Social Security purposes, the benefit's calculated just as if you were married. And what I mean by that is, so if you're collecting, let's get back to that example where the husband's got $2,600 and the wife was $1,000, so she could get $1,300, half of his. That same thing can happen if the couple is divorced. You can claim half of your former spouse's Social Security benefit, and then the same thing happens if he dies.
Yeah.
You can get his full benefit as long as you're not remarried.
Not remarried.
Yeah, once you're remarried, then that option goes away.
And can you just be married do you have to be married a certain length of time before you can get the benefit if you're divorced?
Yeah, you have to be married for 10 years.
Okay.
You have to be married for at least 10 years before you can get an ex-spouse's benefit. And it can't, Steve, it can't just feel like it was 10 years. It has to be at least, you have to be married for 10 years.
Yeah. Now, when you make a Social Security decision, it can't be made in a vacuum. What other things should you be considering when you're making this decision?
Well, that's a good question. That's one of the questions that we always ask. You have to look at your health, number one, because if you come up with a strategy where you're going to delay taking your Social Security benefit, so let's say you don't want to take it at 66, you want to wait until you're 70 so you can get that extra 8% per year. Well, that's only going to work if you live long enough to reap the benefit of delaying for 4 years and getting a higher benefit. There's a break-even analysis that we do on that. So the break-even is usually somewhere around 80, 81, 82 years old.
Yep.
So if you die when you're 74 or 75, it wasn't such a great idea. So that's one thing we look at, is your health and your longevity. So if there's not longevity in your family, or you already know there's something wrong with you, which would preclude your longevity, you might think about whether you want to delay taking your benefit. The other thing that's really important is what are your other sources of income. So it's nice to say, yeah, I want to delay taking my Social Security benefit, but what happens if you don't have other assets to live on?
Yep.
So let's say you stop working and you don't have enough assets to generate income and you don't have a pension. You need to get the money from somewhere. Or you take your Social Security so that it lessens how much you have to spend from your retirement assets. And there's a whole model that we do back in the office where we show you all those variables to help you make a good informed decision. So as you stated, you're not making your Social Security decision in a vacuum.
And how would a Roth IRA fit into this whole scenario?
Well, the beauty of the Roth IRA is when you pull money out of a Roth IRA, it's not taxable. So if you, like a lot of retirement assets, if they're in traditional IRAs or 401ks, when you pull the money out, you're paying tax on it. So you're paying tax on that, plus that could make your Social Security benefit taxable as well. So as long as you're, and the threshold right now for taxability on your Social Security, I think it's somewhere around $34,000 a year if you're married.
Yeah.
So if you're married and your income's over $34,000, part of your Social Security is going to be taxable. It could be taxable up to 85%. So a lot of the strategies that we use, we want to keep the income down so the Social Security benefit's not taxed. And a Roth IRA will do that.
Roth IRA do that. I know Informed Family's been in the news lately. What can you tell me about that?
Well, we have. Well, there's a lot of things going on, Steve. A lot of good things. So if you look at some of the things that we're looking at are, I wrote an article for the Reading Eagle that was published just recently. I was also interviewed for U.S. News and World Report. Did an interview, and you were featured in the Norristown Patch. That's your claim to fame. And Barry, our associate Barry, was featured in Yahoo News and Investopedia. So, it's nice that we have. We've been fortunate because we get the word out. It's not here just on PCTV, but also some of those other those news sources. Which is, it's good exposure. And the other thing I want to mention, Steve, because we haven't said this yet, but when our show is aired locally here on PCTV cable, but they also stream it when they're broadcasting it on PCTV, they're streaming it on their website, the PCTVnetwork.com. And I don't know if we have the PCTV slide, but it's okay if we don't. Yeah, there we go.
And you can also get these on the website.
There we go. Yeah, so they're on the PCTV website, the PCTVnetwork.com, and we also put it on our website, informedfamily.com. So that's one of the whole reasons why we did this show to begin with, because it's nice to get the exposure here in Pottstown, and of course I'm a resident of Pottstown. We have an office right here in town, right down on High in Hanover. So it's nice to be on the local cable, but it's also, we're taking advantage of getting the exposure. In addition to that, on the web, there's our address. They're here in Pottstown. 152 East High Street. Now, the other thing that we do, in addition to all this wonderful exposure here that we're getting on TV and all these news outlets, we take the show on the road. Okay, so we're going to be and we're all over. Basically, we're all over Montgomery County. Okay, so we're going to be at the Franconia restaurant, which is in Telford. We're going to be there on September 18th. So that particular workshop, we're going to talk about Social Security. So if you want to come out, meet us in person. We'll be signing autographs when we're done. We talk about Social Security, and we take a much deeper dive than we're doing today on Social Security. We cover a lot of different subjects because this is a hard thing to do. But this is a very this is a $1 million decision. If you're getting $2,500 a month, let's say, and you're collecting that benefit for 40 years, you and your spouse, that's $1 million. That's a big decision. That might be the biggest financial decision you make. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't take it that way. They just say, well, I'm 62, I should take it, or they're taking the advice of people that aren't really knowledgeable. They're getting the advice of their barber or their bookie or whatever. It's an important decision.
And I read recently from a Wharton survey that about 77% of couples think Social Security Administration is going to give them advice.
Yeah, and that's true. And the Social Security Administration cannot give advice. Remember the old Dragnet series, just the facts, ma'am. When Dragnet would be, what was his name? Friday. Joe Friday. He'd be interviewing the, one of the witnesses. Just the facts, ma'am. But anyway, that's what the Social Security Administration is doing. They're giving you facts. So with all that being said, and this was a great show today, Steve, on Social Security. You can email us. Our information's up there on the screen, info@informedfamily.com, or give us a call. Okay, we can give you more information on Social Security. If you want tickets to one of our upcoming Social Security events, we showed you the one that we have coming up in a couple of weeks. But if you want to come to another workshop that's closer to your area, you can do that as well. So, with all that being said, this was a great show, Steve. Good job. I'm proud of you. And this is Jeff Bush speaking for Financially Speaking with Jeff Bush.